Kyle Larson has spoken out about the ongoing antitrust lawsuit filed against NASCAR by 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports. The lawsuit was filed on October 2, 2023 in federal court in Charlotte. Larson, who drives for Hendrick Motorsports, addressed the media during a press conference following a recent practice session. His comments come at a crucial time as the legal battle between the teams and NASCAR intensifies. Larson stated, "We're probably one of the only sports, if not the only sport, that athlete salary has gone down in the last couple of decades. Where you look at, clearly, most athletes' salaries are going up. Not just athletes, but coaches, staff members, everybody. Obviously, we would love to see it trend upward instead of the opposite, which it's been, but I think with that, the teams probably have to make a lot more money to make it viable to pay the people that are working for the organizations." Larson's remarks shed light on the financial concerns that underpin the lawsuit. The legal action, spearheaded by 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports, claims that NASCAR's actions violate antitrust laws. At the heart of the dispute is the 2025 charter agreement, which the plaintiff teams argue is unfair in terms of revenue distribution. The lawsuit has progressed rapidly since its filing. On October 9th, 2311 and Front Row filed a motion for a preliminary injunction. This motion seeks to allow the teams to race as chartered teams in 2025 while the lawsuit proceeds. To succeed, the teams must demonstrate a likelihood of success on the merits of the case, and show that they would suffer irreparable harm if the injunction is not granted. NASCAR has opposed this motion, arguing that the case is more of a contract dispute than an antitrust issue. The sanctioning body contends that an injunction is unnecessary, as monetary damages could compensate the teams if NASCAR ultimately loses the case. The next steps in the legal process are crucial. NASCAR must file a response to the preliminary injunction motion by October 16th. Initially, a hearing was scheduled for the same date, but due to the impact of Hurricane Milton on NASCAR's Daytona Beach offices, it has been rescheduled to November 4th. Each side will have 30 minutes to present their arguments. In addition to the injunction request, the teams have asked for limited discovery to obtain documents and files from NASCAR executives. They believe these documents could help prove their case's merits. The judge has set deadlines for NASCAR to respond to this motion by October 16th, with the team's reply due by October 23rd. The parties involved in this high-stakes legal battle represent some of the most prominent names in NASCAR. 2311 Racing is owned by current driver Denny Hamlin, basketball legend Michael Jordan, and Jordan's business associate Curtis Polk. The team fields cars for Bubba Wallace and Tyler Reddick and plans to add a third car next year, regardless of the lawsuit's outcome. Front Row Motorsports, owned by restaurant franchisee Bob Jenkins, fields cars for Michael McDowell, who will be replaced by Noah Gragson next year, and Todd Gilliland. Like 2311, Front Row also intends to expand to a 3-car team in the coming season. On the other side of the courtroom, NASCAR, owned by the France family, is represented by Chairman Jim France and his niece, Lisa France Kennedy. The basis of the lawsuit centers on the team's argument that NASCAR controls the market for premier stock car racing. They allege that the 2025 charter agreement is unfair in its revenue distribution and that NASCAR's control over various aspects of the sport violates antitrust law. The charter agreement, an extension of a system formed in 2016, defines guaranteed revenues and race spots for teams. The new agreement was proposed on September 6, 2023, with teams given until midnight to sign. This short deadline has been a point of contention in the lawsuit. While the team's specific demands are not outlined in detail in the lawsuit, they are seeking relief to restore competition and unspecified monetary damages. Other key figures in NASCAR have also weighed in on the situation. Michael Jordan, part owner of 2311 Racing, stated, "I did it for the smaller teams as well. It's not just me. I think everybody should have an opportunity to be successful in any business. My voice is saying that it hasn't been happening. Hopefully we, at both sides, can come to our senses and figure out something that can make sense for everybody." NASCAR's response has been limited, with Jim France and NASCAR President Steve Phelps declining to comment when approached during a recent race weekend. However, in a September 18th letter to 2311 Racing, Phelps defended the charter proposal, writing, "It appears after 2+ years of negotiations with teams, both collectively and individually, compromise and concession on both sides up until the last minute, we firmly believe that we have come up with a document that is fair and equitable to the industry. You suggest that NASCAR somehow has monopoly power. and that 2311 and other teams depend on NASCAR for a competitive opportunity and have been presented with a take-it-or-leave-it offer. We feel, and our attorneys have confirmed, that this contention is misplaced, and similar types of claims have already been rejected by courts. Other team owners have expressed mixed feelings about the situation. Richard Childress of RCR stated, "I didn't have a choice. We had to sign. I have over 400 employees, OEM, manufacturer contracts with sponsors. I've got to take care of my team." Justin Marks, owner of Trackhouse Racing, took a more cautious approach, saying, "It's a wait-and-see game. It's going to take a long time to get to any sort of point where we know what the future looks like. For us, we just have to focus on Trackhouse. Ultimately, we got to a place where I was comfortable signing the contract." The legal teams involved in this case are heavyweight. The teams are represented by Jeffrey Kessler, known for his work with NCAA athletes and the U.S. women's national soccer team. NASCAR has enlisted Chris Yates, who has represented various sports organizations, including the U.S. Soccer Federation and the UFC. The case is being presided over by Judge Frank Whitney, a former Army reservist and federal prosecutor appointed to the bench in 2006. Magistrate Judge Susan Rodriguez will handle certain motions in the case. The potential timeline for this legal battle is uncertain. While it could settle at any time, if it goes to trial, it might take 2 years or more. Appeals could further extend this timeline. The potential outcomes are equally unclear, ranging from changes to the charter agreement terms to possible structural changes in NASCAR itself. In addition to the main lawsuit, the teams have filed a motion for expedited discovery, seeking documents from NASCAR executives, including members of the France family. They are also willing to sign the 2025 agreements if a court order prevents the enforcement of a release clause, allowing them to compete while the litigation proceeds. The financial implications of this lawsuit are significant. Bob Jenkins, owner of Front Row Motorsports, estimates a combined revenue loss of $45 million for unchartered teams. The Daytona 500 alone accounts for 15% of the total season purse, highlighting the importance of maintaining chartered status. Both 2311 and Front Row have stated their intention to field 3-car teams in 2025, with or without charters. This commitment underscores the team's determination to compete at the highest level of NASCAR, regardless of the lawsuit's outcome. NASCAR's defense points include claims that the case doesn't meet the criteria for a preliminary injunction. They argue that the teams are seeking a mandatory hold and a change to the status quo, which is only applicable in extraordinary circumstances. Furthermore, NASCAR contends that the teams cannot establish irrecoverable monetary damage and views the issue as contractual rather than antitrust. To put this lawsuit in historical context, NASCAR has faced 2 previous antitrust actions in the past 25 years. The charter system, similar to franchises in other sports, has been a point of contention, with teams fighting for permanent charters, a request NASCAR has refused. The broader implications of this lawsuit for NASCAR are potentially far-reaching. It could lead to changes in the sport's structure and governance, impact team NASCAR relationships, and affect competition and the overall business model of the sport. Kyle Larson's comments have added another layer to this complex situation. As a current driver and former champion, his perspective provides insight into the concerns of those directly affected by the financial structure of NASCAR. Larson said, "It's cool to see somebody stand up to a huge corporation. Obviously, I would love to see our teams making more money because I think that helps the overall health of our sport. I definitely give kudos to Front Row and 2311 for sticking up for what they believe." The coming weeks will be crucial as the court considers the motions for preliminary injunction and expedited discovery. The November 4th hearing could provide significant insights into the strength of each side's arguments and potentially shape the direction of the lawsuit. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe to NASCAR Insider and share your insights in the comments below.